Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Vaheguru Sahib Jio. Guru Guru Gur Kar Man Mor, Guru Bina Main Nahi Hor, Gur Ki Tek Raho Din Raat, Jaki Koe Na Mite Daat, Gur Parmesar Eko Jaan, Jo Tis Pavai So Parvan. Ad Gure Namah, Jugad Gure Namah, Sat Gure Namah, Sri Guru Deve Namah. Balihari Gure Apne, Dyohari Sadwar, Jin Manas Te Devte Kiye, Kart Na Lagi Var. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you so much for coming. I thought I'd just, I have this thing sometimes you need to do like a 30-second elevator pitch to somebody just to explain a few concepts to them. So there's quite a few concepts that sometimes people don't understand, they're not very clear about. I thought I'd just sort of shed some light on the ones that commonly come up to me when people come and ask me about things like this. So I thought I'd just shed light on those. So they're not in any order. And then what we can do is you can ask questions as well. If there's something that you think, well, that I don't understand that part. And it's going to be on the Sikh philosophy, what the Gurus teach. The first one I want to start with is actually the very first question in Japji Sahib. And the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, because Japji Sahib is at the beginning of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So it's the first question in Japji Sahib and the first question in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which is Kiv Sachiara Hoye, Kiv Kude Tutte Pal. Right? You all heard that, you all said it this morning. And it's a question. And it says, how do I become truthful? Kiv means how. So Kiv Sachiara Hoye. Sachiar means like such, true. How do I become truthful? How do I become one with the truth? Kiv Kude Tutte Pal. Kiv is again how. Kude is falsehood. And Pal means a wall. And Tutte means the breaks. How do I break down this wall of falsehood between me and my Creator and the one that's inside me? So even though we have got God inside us, right? Just like Yogi Ji and many famous French philosophers actually said the same thing. If that if you can't see God, no, you can't see God at all. That idea. So God's inside, right? So why don't we feel God? If He's right here, what's stopping us? There's a wall between us and our one, our source, and this is the wall of Home, Home. So Guru's first question is, how do I become truthful? How do I break the wall of falsehood? And the falsehood then is described in Gurbani later on as being the ego, as a sense of I and me. Ha, me. Ha means I and me means me. So it's a wall between us and the Creator, literally made up of a sense of separateness, that we are separate. By being I, me, we're acknowledging that we're separate. When we say you, it's only you, it's all you, then there's no separation, right? So it's almost like self-destruction. So Sikh is not building you up, is teaching you how to get destroyed. And Guru asked that question because the wall to destroy is of our ego, right? And it's not an ego like I believe I'm proud. It's not pride, it's even deeper than pride. It's just a sense of being separate. So being separate is the wall to break down. And that's the question that's asked. And the answer comes back, Hukam Rajai Charana, Nanak Likhya Naal, right? So it's the very first body after Mool Mantra. And the question's there. And so we'll just say that, let's say it together. Hukam Rajai Chalana, Nanak Likhya Naal. So, Hukam is a concept of the will of God. So what basically the English translation, I don't know if anybody's got the English Japji Sahib with them, like people have it. So maybe remember what it says normally in the app? You want to have a look in the app what it says normally? Follow God's command and then Nanak Likhya Naal. Right, so, and sometimes when I used to read it in English, because when I was 21, by the way, I was your kind of an average 21-year-old. I used to drink, I used to have the occasional cigarette, quite a few cigarettes that were laced in joints with cannabis. So you get stoned quite a lot. I used to listen to hip hop. I was a president of the hip hop society at my university. And I didn't speak that good Punjabi. I couldn't read Gurmukhi. So and I didn't have a turban or a beard. Right? I had a funny little thing. I've seen someone go, I had like little bit here. No beard, no, just that little triangle here. I thought I was cool, yeah. So, so when I used to read the English, when I was starting out, I'm not that dissimilar to you guys in terms of starting out and reading it. I used to read the English, the translations, and it felt to me like Yoda was speaking, And I was like, I didn't get this. What is this? What does this mean? Like what you just said a minute ago in English, that it is all written. Follow the command of God, it's all written in His will. I was like, where is it written? What is this? How do I work it out? And so I was like, hukum and I just accept God's will. Because the will is hukum. So I was like, just accept God's will. And it seemed to me like everything that's happening is written. So there's a book somewhere and it's all written down. And me, I just got to flow with it. That's it. But I didn't really get that. Like I thought I've got to do something. There's got to be some active to, what have I got to do? And where is it written? So anyway, years later, I just prayed to Guru, I said, help me out, let me understand this a bit more. I'm trying to explain Japji Sahib. So here's my take on it now. You know what's written in Sikhi? Nanak likhya naal, right? What's written? Tell me what's written down in Sikhi. Like if I was to ask you, if I went to a 5-year-old kid who didn't know anything, who was a Sikh, and I said, okay, what's written down in Sikhi? No. Gurbani is written down. Think about it. What did Guru write down? He didn't write his own history. He wrote Gurbani, right? Okay. So let's take that idea of likhya, meaning writing, is written. And he wrote it. Let's just say he wrote it for us. Yeah, like we were all wondering, like, oh, what's God's will for me? What does God want me to do? What am I supposed to live? How am I supposed to live? What's God's will for me as a human being? How can I survive? How can I, merge with God? That's what I want to know, right? That's what I need to know from God. I need an instruction booklet, right? Like iPhones nowadays, they don't come with one. You have to go and work out for yourself how to use the iPhone. And then somebody comes along, so did you know you could do this? You're like, oh no, why didn't somebody tell me you could do this, right? So it's like that. We're all born with that instruction booklet. And we get our parents teaching us, but they might not be Satgurus, they haven't got the truth. They're lost as everybody else. So we need someone to teach us the truth. And Guruji says, I've written it down for you, Gurbani. Gurbani is the instruction booklet that we needed. Right? So now let's try and understand that answer. Hukum rajai chalana, nanak likhya naal. Naal means with. Like sometimes you might have sang that shabad, Guru mere sang sada hai naale. My Guru is always with me. So naal means with. Right? Or har naal kaur. Is a girl, Penji, I know her, that's her name. Naal means with. So Nanak with what Nanak wrote. So second line means with what Nanak wrote. And the first line is Hukum Rijai Chalna. Chalna means to walk. Literally, Punjabi word for Chalna means walking. So walk, okay, in the will of God. Nanak wrote it down with what Nanak wrote. So just live your life as per Gurbani. That's what the answer is. How do I become truthful? How do I break down my ego? Live your life alongside God's will. Nanak has written it down for you. So Guru is transmitting to us God's will. What does God want us to know about how to live this life, how to be successful? Guruji wrote it down for us. That's why Gurbani is so important. It's not just the naad, the sound, one second. It's also the Ved. The Ved means the wisdom. Japji Sahib Guru says, Gurmukh Nadang, Gurmukh Vedang, Gurmukh Rahe Samai. So, in the Gurmukhi, the word Gurmukh there doesn't mean a Gurmukh as in what we're trying to achieve and aspire to be a Gurmukh or not a Manmukh. It actually means Gurmukhi. What the Guru said. What the Guru said has Naad. What the Guru said has Ved. Ved coming from the word Veda as in wisdom. And Gurmukh Rahe Samai. So if you live in the Naad and you live in the wisdom, you understand it and you say it, you live in the vibration of it, you can get merged into Gurmukhi, Gurbani. As you get merged into Gurmukhi, you merge with the Guru because the Guru is Bani. Right? So that's the technology, is to understand it and say it and get merged with it. And Gurbani is the answer. Nanak likhya naal is Gurbani. Gurbani is the Guru. Right? So the first answer is Gurbani. The answer to all of our problems is in Gurbani. That is the medicine. So you answer. Wow, it was meant to happen then. Exactly. Guru was just Guru knew what was coming next. Yes, sir.
So, if many of us here, feel like we are starting on a path that is going to rewrite some kind of destiny.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if
okay.
it's written, how do you rewrite?
Right, okay, great. So we'll just go straight on to the second question, which is, what does this likhya hukam mean? So there is this concept that everything is written, and you see it's written on your forehead, right? So the next question that most people ask me is about destiny. They say to me, is there any point me doing anything? Like, should I even wake up in the morning and brush my teeth? Should I just lie in bed all day long? You must get this law. And everybody teaches, like, is there a point? Like, if it's all written down and it's all predestined, why should I even bother getting up? You know, it's all going to happen anyway. Am I going to walk outside and get hit by a bus? I might as well just, it's going to happen anyway. I can't do anything. That is not what Gurbani is saying. So that concept, that presumes that time is linear. There's a beginning of time and a book was written with everything that ever happens at the beginning of time. And then all that happens next is just like this kind of like computer game when you just follow what's written in the code. Yeah? Or a movie is being made and you just press play and you're just like watching the movie, that's it, that's your life, right? That's what that presumes, linear. But God is Akal Murat, right? That's the description of God in the Mool Mantra. So the creator is Akal Murat. Kal actually means time. Like if you go to in Punjab and you say Manu Kaliya, Kali means I ain't got time. Yeah, I'm busy. I got a rush. I'm in a rush. Kal actually means time. Yeah. So if Kal means time and God is Akal, He's outside of time. That means that He's not just before time and at the end of time or now. He's at all times. So God's watch is now. On God's watch, it just says now all the time. It doesn't say, oh, is this year? It's always now, right? Therefore, there's no book that was written at the beginning of time that we're just playing out. It's always being written. And that's what it says in Japji Sahib. It says that Sabna Likhya, remember Likhya, written? Sabna Likhya, Vudi Kalam. Kalam means a pen. Vudi means it's flowing. It's still writing. Vagda hoya in Punjabi. The pen of God is ever flowing, it's ever writing. It's not written until it's happened. What just happened 5 minutes ago, that was written. What's going to happen next 5 minutes is not yet written, it's being written. It's flowing the pen. So the destiny isn't all written, it's still being written. Right? So the question there is about, I'm going to rewrite my destiny, rechange it. Yes. So how Sikhi works, Guruji says, at 7 years old, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he surprised his teacher. Imagine, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, 7 years old, yeah, little boy, he's going to his teacher. Teacher says to him, okay, I'm going to teach you the letters of the alphabet. Right? He starts going through the letters of the alphabet. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, stop. What do they mean? He's like, what do you mean, what do they mean? They're just the letters. He goes, no, they mean something. What do they mean? He's like, I don't know. He goes, I'll tell you. So Guruji writes a Bani, they write a Bani when they're 7 years old. And this is in Guru Granth Sahib. It's called Patti Likhi. Patti means your board, your blackboard. So he wrote on his blackboard what the letters mean. And he goes through every letter in the alphabet and he explains the meaning behind that letter. And when he comes to Dadda, where the word Darsh would come from, or Dwar, the word Dadda, he says, Dadda dost na diyo kise. Dost karma apniya, jo main kiya so main paya, dost na dije avarjana. All about Dadda. He says, Dadda is about dost. Dost means blame. He goes, don't blame anybody else. What you're getting is because of your own karam, your own karma. You can't blame anybody else. It's your own karma. Take it on your own shoulders. So whenever something happens to us, right? When we say destiny, it's funny because destiny sounds like duh as well, right? And this is what he's talking about. So everything is in our own karma, right? So how does karma work? So I was talking to Pitpal Singh about this yesterday. So the concept is like this, right? So in every life we were around, 8.4 million lives, right? That's what Guru is describing. At the end of your life, there'd be a certain amount of good karma that you didn't get to enjoy, and a certain amount of bad karma you didn't get to go through, right? Because you didn't finish out the account. So what happens is that gets put into a bank account, like a storage. So it's like, let's just imagine a bucket, yeah? So some water is left over, and it gets poured into the bucket, and then every life, at the end of that life, we end up putting some more water into the bucket. So what we end up with is a bucket full of water, a really big bucket full of, this is a sanchit karam. Sanchit means gathered. Our collected karma is big, the bucket, right? Now the human life is only about 80, 90 years, isn't it really? You know, some people get a bit longer, but most people, 70, 80, you know, you've done a good job, right? So, in 70 to 80 years, there is no way we can work out all the karma sitting in that bucket. That would have to be the craziest life ever. We have to be like shot, stabbed every day to get through millions of lives of karma in 80 years, right? It'd be the most terrible, crazy. You'd have to like one day get shot, next day become the president, next day get killed, next day become, you know, it'd be the craziest life ever. So you can't go through all that karma in one life, right? So what we do is we take out a cup worth, for one life's worth from that collected karma, and this is now our destiny for this life. Pralabdha Karma is called, this life's worth of destiny. So every one of us comes into this life with like this much destiny, right? Now here's the thing, right? Whilst we're living this life, we have to go through the good and bad of this destiny. That's what Guru is saying, don't blame anybody else. This is what you've earned, you're just going through your karma. So if somebody goes through some terrible stuff, that's because they had some karma to burn through. And it's good. Once you've gone through it and you dealt with it, you've burnt it off. You don't have to burn it again then, right? So if you avoid that karma, you just have to go through it again later on. Because it's part of the science. It's about the physics of what as you sow, so shall you reap. You know, it's every religion has said the same thing. But they did just explain it with the multiple life theory. Because obviously, if you've only got one life, it doesn't make any sense. You know, Hitler did so much bad stuff, came to the end, that was it. He didn't go through all that karma he went through. So it doesn't make any sense to say what you sow, so shall you reap, if you only have one life. But if you've got multiple lives, then the justice comes right. Because you do go through it, right? So you've got this one mug full of destiny. It's got good and bad inside it, right? You're living your life, good stuff happens, bad stuff happens. It's all because of your destiny as well. But here's the thing, we're still earning karma as well, aren't we? So that's the third thing you've got, the kireman karam, the karma you're earning whilst you're alive. So you keep adding to that water now. At the end of your life, then again you're left with some more karma and you put it back into the collected karma, right? So here's how destiny works. So when we're trying to wipe out our destiny with Sikhi, the problem is we have to go through that destiny, right? Now when we're acting in the realm of action, when I say action, I mean you go outside and you give somebody some food. That, okay, you've given them some food. That's described in Japji Sahib. Maharaj says, Teerath, Tap, Daya, Dat Dan, Jeko Pave, Til Ka Man. You heard it right? Sunya Manya Man Kita Pao, Antargat Teerath Maranao. Sounds familiar? Might be different pronunciation because we've learned to pronounce it obviously the Shuddh way. But Maharaj starts off by talking about 4 or 5 things that people often do in order to reduce their karma. Everybody's worried about this bucket and everybody's worried about this glass and this bucket. They're like, I don't want to go through all this stuff. Let me reduce it. Let me buy my way out of this karma. So what do the first thing they do? They go to holy places. Teerath. Teerath. Teerath means going to holy places and having a bath there, right? So the Ganges and stuff. Teerath. Then Tap. Tap means 40 days of standing on one foot or you know, walking all the way to the holy mountain by bowing down and then standing up when my hands touch, then lying down flat. That's all Tap Sanjam. That's like some kind of penance. And you know, whipping yourself. The Christians have it as well. Every religion has Tap. Yeah? So Teerath, holy places. Every religion has those, right? Go there, you be blessed. Tap, do some kind of penance. Daya, show some compassion. Dat Dan, give to somebody, right? Every religion has that. Go and give to people, and you buy your karma off. You're such a bad person. No problem. Go and give some money away. Maybe that'll wipe out that karma. So Guru says, Teerath Tap Daya Dat Dan, Jeko Pave. If somebody does this, Jeko Pave Til Ka Man. Man means respect, honor. Til means a little sesame seed. You get a sesame seed's worth of respect for doing those things. You do get something, but it's very little, right? So you can't burn off your karma by living at the level of karma. at the level of action, you can never burn off action. Just create more karma, good and bad, right? So now you've got this bucket, but you're trying to get rid of the water in this, but all you're doing is adding. Not to say you shouldn't go and feed people. There is a way of doing it, I'll explain in a minute. But at the level of action, we can never burn this off. So now what can we do to change our destiny? What can we do, literally ourselves, to reprogram ourselves, to get rid of what's in this mug, and to get rid of what's in this massive bucket that we can't deal with? It's like a swimming pool's worth, right?
Is it you going with the right idea to say, I'm going, let me burn it off so that,
There's nothing wrong with trying to burn off your karma. Like, it's good. But remember, I just said some panktis to you in Japji Sahib. I want you to read the next bit out. So I says, Jeko pave tilka man. What comes next? Sunya, manya, man kita, pao, antaragat Teerath Holy. This is the answer. What do I need to do then? Because he's told you what doesn't work. You only get this much respect. Then he tells you what really does work. Listen. Listen to what you're going to say. To Gurbani. What else you can listen to in the Gurdwara? Gurbani. Sunya. Listen to Gurbani. Manya. Accept Gurbani. Manya means to accept. Accept that is true. Really listen. Not just listen like it goes in one ear. Really listen and really accept. And then man kita pao. Create love in your heart. In your mind, create love. For whom? For Guru and God, obviously. Who else? Listen to his words. And then Antargat Teerath Holy. Wash in the holy place of pilgrimage inside you. Go inside and wash in the Naam. Right? Love God through the name. And as you do that, this is how you wash your karma. You burn off what's in the bucket. You reprogram your whole life because you've burnt off so many karma. Remember? Sunaya dukh paap ka nas. Just by listening, right? Just the first of the 3 stages. Just by listening to Gurbani really properly, like what we're talking now. This is part of Sunaya. To really listen to understand what the Guru is trying to say. Maharaj says by just doing that, like what we're doing right now, we're burning off paap. Paap means sins. It's not right, but basically we've got this negativity in here that we've earned, and it gets wiped out. And our destiny becomes better because we wiped out the negative karma we had to go through. We just reduced this value. It was 1,000, now it's only a 1. We stub our toe. Right? You come out the Gurdwara, you step on a thorn. You go, ow, why did this have to happen to me? I just did all this part and meditation, I woke out and got stabbed in my foot. Right? But that's 1. It could have been worse. You could have tripped and fallen down the hill. Guru just wiped out that negative karma and you just got a little stub on your toe. Because the karma is gone, the negativity is gone. Sunaya dukh paap ka nas. Sadness and sins get eradicated by just listening to Gurbani. That's the power of it. It's why we bow to it. That's how powerful it is. It's God's word, right? So now, Gurbani and Naam is the only way to reduce what's in this cup and to destroy what's in the swimming pool. This is the power of Gurbani and God's name. Because when we're living at the level of karma, just doing something good, doing something bad. Okay, I'll do 5 good things. I get 5 good things back to me. We're still operating at the level of karma. To go into Naam is the only thing that burns karma. Right? And you actually start to burn off what's inside that swimming pool. This is why the human life is so powerful. Because we actually go into Naam, we actually start burning off millions and millions of lives worth of karma.
Is that swimming pool you're referring to the collective consciousness? Or are you talking about our...
No, your own collected karma over the 8.4 million lives that we've had. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to people that get to a level, they end up becoming liberated whilst alive, and they start out wiping out other people's karma. They start to go into the humanity swimming pool and start wiping it out as well. But there's very few of them. If you meet one of them, you just touch their feet and sit with them. But really, there's very few of them. Most of us, we've got this swimming pool worth, we're just dragging along with us everywhere, and it's a mission to get rid of it. So that's the karma side of what we're trying to do through Gurbani, is to actually improve the karma here, in this life, and also to wipe out what's staying behind. And that's by going inside and washing in God's name. Pariye mat papa ke sang, o dhope na ve kerang. To the love of God's name. So that was a concept I wanted to clear up. One more, sorry Pastor, we had a question, but now I'm going to go to the other question that comes up. Yourself, go on.
What falls into Naam?
Okay, okay, sure. Naam is the connection. When you experience the divine, you're in Naam. Remember yesterday I went through this thing like split Naam into two words? Na, mu. Not me. Whenever you feel the presence of God, you forget about yourself. You're sitting in wondrous. Like I'm wondering about, I'm in like wow about you. I can't remember what's happening in my life. I'm not worried about my emails or what I'm going to do next. I'm just living in awe in your presence. That's Naam. Now you can get that through many ways. Asank jap, right? Asank means infinite ways. Yeah, there's infinite ways of jumping, infinite ways of praising. So when you are sitting in that experience, some people get it through Gurbani, some people get it through Simran slow, some people get it through fast meditation on Waheguru, some people get it from Mool Mantra, some people get it from Kirtan, some people get it from doing Seva, some people get it from, some other things. It's all Naam. When you're in the presence of the divine, you're wow, that's Naam. Not me, you, wow, Waheguru, that's Naam. So I'm not a person that ever tries to put a descriptiveness on what is Naam. And this is exactly what Japji Sahib says. Japji Sahib says, Kiv kar akha, kiv salahi, kyo varni kiv jana, Nanak akhan sabko akhe ik du ik siyana. Maharaj says, how do I say his name? How do I praise him? Right? Everybody thinks they know better than the rest. Ik du ik siyana. Everybody is more siyana than the rest. Siyana means wise. Everybody is wiser than the next. Everybody thinks they know how to praise God, how to call his name. Kiv kar akha, kiv salahi, kyo varni, kiv jana, Nanak akhan, sabko akhe. Everybody says that. They know. Ik du ik siyana. Everybody is more clever than the rest. And they say that the only way to do it really, they say Vadda Sahib. You know that creator that we're praising? He's Vadda. He's big. He's so big. He's really big. Vadda Sahib. Our master is so big. Vaddi Nai, his name, his connection is big, not small like we are. So he said, it's like an ant trying to say, I know the mountain. The ant can never know the mountain. It can never know the mountain. It might have to live 1,000,000 lives and it still won't know the mountain. So don't ever be prescriptive. Maharaj says, Nanak jeko apo jane, agge gyana so hai. If somebody says, I know, when they go in the next world, they won't be beautiful there. Because they try to say, I know God. And better than everybody else. And that's, pride comes before a fall, basically. You just can't say you know the way to praise God and the way to connect to God. Because your way might be different to somebody else's way. So he's really big. That's the thing what Guru is saying. He's really, Vadda Sahib, he's just really big, right? So don't ever think you can grasp him and understand what he is. So in this sense, we don't become prescriptive on what Naam is, right? It's just that when you lose yourself, you're in Naam. When you're still in your ego, you're still thinking about yourself, you're not in Naam. Gurbani says that Home Naave Naal Virodh hai. Home and Naam, ego, I, me, is opposite to Naam, the connection. These two, they're opposed to each other. So either you're in ego, you're separated, you're thinking about yourself, you're from a sense of self, or you're in the connection to Waheguru and you're in Naam. You can't have both at the same time. It's binary, 0 or 1. You're either with the 1 or you're a 0. Right? So this is what we need. Yeah? We need to be with the 1, Naam. Now the question that comes up, right? Guru says, so how do I make him happy then? In Japji Sahib he says, Kiv ka pher ke agge rakhiye jiddi se darbar. In the third body, right? He asks another question. He goes, pher ke agge rakhiye jiddi se darbar. Moho ke bolan boliye jit sun tare pyar. He says, what should I put in front of him? Or what should I put into my life? What should I make into my life? Because rakhiye can mean to have a daily routine, your sadhana. Rakhiye means rahat rakhni. Rakhni means to keep something. So what do you keep in your life that will make him happy? What do I say with my mouth that will make him happy with me? How can I please this being that's made me? How do I please this being, right? Guru says, Amrit Vela, Sach Nao, Vadiyai Vichar. Wake up early morning in the Amrit Vela, the time that's immortal, right? And then, Sach Nao, say the name of the Waheguru, and Vadiyai Vichar. This bit always confused me. What does Vadiyai Vichar mean? Contemplate his greatness, is how the English translation comes up, right? Now, contemplate his greatness. The question here is, we don't know how great he is. How can we sit there contemplating it? So, the answer is Gurbani. Gurbani is contemplation on the greatness of God. By Guruji, who has the perfect vision. So the answer is, wake up in the morning, say Vaheguru, chant God's name, and then read Gurbani. Amrit Vela, Sachinao, Vadiyai Vichar. Wake up, do Simran, read Gurbani. And that's what we do every morning. Right? A normal Sikh's life is to wake up in the morning, chant God's name, and read Gurbani, because Gurbani is contemplation on the greatness of God. So so far what I've talked about with the first two questions in Japji Sahib, the first one was Hukam Rajai Chalna Nanak Likhya Nal, walk alongside what Nanak has written. The answer was Gurbani. The second question, how do I make him happy? Wake up in the morning, chant God's name and read Gurbani. So what you can see is a theme coming here. The theme from Guruji in the first 5 bodies is all about Gurbani. And that's funny because that's what he gave us. He didn't give us a land, he didn't give us anything else. Main thing he gave us was Gurbani. Right? And Guru Gobind Singh Ji in 1706 spent 9 months rewriting the entire Guru Granth Sahib Ji from memory. 1430 pages or angs he wrote down from memory in Damdama Sahib in India, one of the Takhts now. You know the 5 Takhts? One of them is Damdama Sahib, that's what happened there. For 9 months, Guru Gobind Singh Ji wrote out the entire Guru Granth Sahib Ji from memory. Spent that much time. His sons just passed away in 1705. In 1706, he spent 9 months writing all of Guru Granth Sahib Ji out, explained to the Sikhs how to read it, how to understand it.
I thought it was the Dasam Granth that he rewrote.
No,
Is that got lost?
No, he didn't rewrite it, no.
I mean,
Dasam Granth Sahib Ji was by Mani Singh Ji and also written by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, but by Mani Singh Ji recompiled it because parts were lost. He went and found like other copies of it and he put it together again. But when it comes to what happened in Damdama Sahib, it was Guru Gobind Singh Ji, because, excuse me, that bead or that sarup of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, that form that was created in 1706 in Damdama Sahib, that is the one that Guruji put in the writings of his father. Because obviously Guru Arjan Dev Ji didn't put that in, right? Because they weren't around then. So the 5th Guru compiled everything, but 9th Guru's writings were put in by his son, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And then that was a sarup that went with Guruji to Hazur Sahib. And when it was time for them to pass, 1708, they bowed down to that sarup that they made. They said, this is the Guru now. So that's what they created. Dasam Granth Sahib Ji, the Bani was all written before, but then it was put together. There are parts that, there were other compilations of Dasam Granth Sahib Ji made before as well. But the one that was in Damdama Sahib was Guru Granth Sahib Ji. That was the one that got given the Guruship. It's called Damdama Wali Bead. The form of Guru Granth Sahib Ji from Damdama Sahib. That's what it's called. Okay, so the destiny question, right? The answer is Naam, right? And we said Naam is not prescriptive, but it's the connection, right? And here's the funny thing, right? In Gurbani, Japji Sahib, Guru Sahib talks about Hukam, and he says in the second body, he says, Nanak hukme je bujhe ta home kehna koi. If you understand the Hukam, i.e. the will of God, you will not speak in ego. You've heard that, right, in English? So it's obviously very important for us to understand Hukam, right? Because that's the solution. If you don't speak in ego, you've got God. If there's no more home, you've got God, right? So what is the Hukam? Now I talked earlier about that the first Hukam is what's written down. What Guru is saying, that is the Hukam of God. But there's also the Hukam that's happening all around. The wider Hukam. The Hukam that we can't do anything about. Hukam na kahe jaye. Hukam andar sabko. Everybody's inside the Hukam, the will of God. So everything that's happening in this world is obviously under the Creator's command. Karta Purkh, He is a doer, does everything, right? So anything which has already just happened, like just what happened a minute ago, that was written, it was meant to happen, because otherwise how could it have happened? Right? It was meant to happen. What's not yet happened, not yet written, we can still affect that, we can still change that, right? Now, it's happening, we're inside it. What happened in China just now, I can't change. It's happened. So I can't say the Hukam, because it's too big for me to understand what's happening all over the world. God's will, I can't write it down, I can't say it because it's too big. But there is this wider thing I must accept and live in contentment with. So whatever's happened to us in the past, whatever's happening all over the world right now, like what just happened in Orlando, it's all God's plan. And we have to learn to accept it. Yeah? Live with it. Not that we just don't become totally passive and don't do anything about it, but we have to live with it and see it as part of God's will. So that's the bigger Hukam. But then there's what we have to do. Otherwise, like, why should I wake up in the morning? Right? What do I got to do? This little Hukam, the one that we can actually do, this is what the Guru is telling us to live. Wake up in the morning, meditate, chant, be a good person. The qualities of a Sikh, right? So I want to talk about that quickly. How should we live, right? Guru says that there's 5 thieves that steal our spirituality and our good karma, and there's 5 friends that we need in our life, 5 qualities. The 5 thieves you probably heard, right? Lust, anger, pride, greed, and attachment. These are the things that actually rob us. They take away from us what we're doing. So, and when you look at attachment, that's one of the hardest ones to put your finger on. Because lust is like, okay, you understand lust. You look at somebody in the wrong way, that's the beginning of lust, right? And today's world is all about lust, right? They want to sell you a car, they don't tell you about the car. They put a girl on top of the car. Say, you get the car, you get the girl. You won't get the girl if you buy the car. You just get the car, right? But no one tells you about the car, right? So the world is trying to sell you lust, right? Anger, it's very easy, right? Pride, okay? Greed. The world is all about greed. Just take more for yourself. Why not have more? Why have less, right? Well, you might think, well, maybe less is good. People think, no, less is always bad. More is always good. But not really. And Gurbani has a little example about this, right? I'll tell you a little funny story. You know, in India, anybody been to India? Okay. Have you ever seen those guys that walk around with a monkey with a little chain around his neck? And the monkey, but what's the monkey wearing? Fine little clothes, right? The monkey's dressed up in a dress. And the guy that's carrying the monkey around, he's got a little beat thing and he's shaking it and it makes a little bit of music. And what does the monkey do when the music starts coming? He starts dancing, right? So this monkey starts dancing and what happens? People start laughing. And what do? They give money to the guy with the monkey, right? This is what the monkey, is the monkey supposed to be dancing to music wearing clothes? No. What's he supposed to be doing? He or she, on a tree with his friends, eating bananas, you know, robbing people in Delhi and all that kind of stuff, right? They do that, I've seen them. They do that, seriously. Come down from the trees, you got something they want to eat, they just come up to you and say, give me it, they throw it. So that's the monkey's life. He's supposed to be living a monkey's life. But the monkey's not living the God-given monkey life. He's now trapped in a life that's not meant for the monkey. Now we're the monkey. Kabirji says, you are a monkey, you are living a life that's not meant for you. You were meant to come here and experience the divine and live in bliss. But instead you're trapped in your mortgages and your houses and your cars, and you're completely away from your monkey life, your human life. You're living an animal's life and not the human life. He says, and you know how they catch that monkey? This is how they catch the monkey, using greed. They literally use greed against the monkey. Gurbani describes how they catch the monkey. Kabirji says, Kabirji says, Markat mushti anaj ki man baurare lini hath pasar. Chutan ko sehsa paryo man baurare nachyo kar karbar. Those that understand Punjabi will understand nachyo kar karbar means now you're dancing from different people's houses like a monkey. He talks about the markat. The markat means the monkey. He says how they catch the monkey, they put a bottle in the forest. In the bottle they put some corn. The monkey loves sweet corn, right? And like wheat grains. They put it in the bottle. The bottle has a very small neck. The monkey's got a very narrow hand. The monkey puts his hand inside the bottle, grabs hold of the corn, pulls his hands out, but it's stuck now because his hands expanded. Now he's trapped. Now the guy's going to catch him, the shikari, the hunter. He gets up and walks over to the monkey. He doesn't run, he doesn't shoot it with a dart. He just walks over, calm as can be. Monkey's going to grab his hand, pull it out. Now what could the monkey do? Just let go of the corn and run away. But he doesn't. He's got greed. He doesn't want to let go. He's trying to pull his hand out and keep the grain. And then when the hunter comes right close, he puts a chain around the neck, traps him, gives him a slap, says drop the corn. And the monkey's now trapped in a life not meant for the monkey. What happens to us? We're at work, happy with our job, happy with our life, meditating. They say, you know, I can get you a promotion, more hours, more responsibility, but more money. We see that grain, we're like, put our hand in. 3 months later, our sadhana's gone out. We got no spiritual practice. We're cranky, we're snapping at everybody, we're losing all the happiness in our life. And we're wondering, what's going on here? You know, but we're trapped with our greed. Yeah, and now we're dancing to other people's tunes. Right? So Gurbani is telling us, your hukam for you is to live a spiritual and moral life. You're meant to be free of these things that trap you: lust, anger, pride, greed, attachment. They're actually your enemies, but we think they're our friends. They take us away from our real essence, but we make their closest friends. No, we can't let go of them. But when we die, we let go of them and they don't stand for us. They're not our real friends, because the friends that would stand with us when we get judged, they would speak for us, right? That's what a true friend would be. When you get judged, they stand and speak for you. They run away. They leave you then. You stand there facing the consequences yourself. But there are 5 friends that will come with you: truth, contentment, justice, compassion, forgiveness. These are your friends. Yeah, that's what Guru says. Make them your friends. Hang out with these guys, right? Be truthful, be content, be compassionate, be forgiving, and look towards justice. So Gurbani is telling us this ultimate true way, and it's the same in so many different traditions, right? There's nothing new people can figure out, but it's just that they're not explained to us in a way that makes sense given the long-term hypothesis of so many different lives and etc., etc. So if we live this ethical way, we will live as a real human being and not as an animal or a monkey, trapped by our greed. Then that's our hukum from our Guru. Guru is saying, this is the kind of life I want you to live. So, and then the meditation, which is based on Gurbani. It's all based going through Gurbani, right? Now, Gurbani has a naad, like I said earlier, but it also has the Ved, the wisdom. So on our channel, we realized there was a lot of people didn't understand the meaning of Gurbani, of the Guru's words. So what we started to do is do the explanations of Gurbani in English. So we went through Japji Sahib, what we do in the morning. We went through it over 40 hours. We recorded it line by line, word by word, what it means, like I'm doing with you now. That's recorded in Southall, where I come from in London. And then we put it on YouTube. And on the YouTube videos, it's all in English. We also put in the screen in every video what we're saying. If we say a Gurbani and we're referring to it, it's on the screen, so you can see it in the video. We just put it above, edited it in. So it's like a resource that you could use to understand Japji Sahib. It's Singh, if you can give a leaflet to them. But it's on YouTube. The channel is called Basics of Sikhi. On YouTube, if you just type Basics of, Sikhi comes up straight away, right? So it's like number 1 on Basics of parts. So Basics of Life, I think, is second, but Sikhi comes first. So Basics of, right? And then if you do the search, just type in Basics of Sikhi and then type in Japji Sahib, English, and you see the explanation. The playlist is there. Start from number 1 and go all the way through. Funnily enough, the video number 1 was recorded at the Kundalini Yoga Festival about 4 years ago in London. I was going through the Mool Mantra. That's the first video on that one. So we're going through Hukam, the concept of how we should live, how the Guru is telling us. And then what I want to get to now is this path, what's written. So I'm going to finish off with this because Panji asked this question earlier, the 5 khands. In Japji Sahib, Guru gives this kind of description of the spiritual path, right? And in fact, before the 5 khands, he gives like a precursor. It's like you're going to go for a run tomorrow. What's the first thing you're going to have? Bottle of water and some running shorts and a t-shirt, right? Before you even go for that run, you need to be dressed and ready for it, right? So before we go on this path, Guru says you've got to have the right thinking and the right desire. So the right desire and the right thinking, they come first. So anybody know which Pauri of Japji Sahib starts talking about the first of the 5 khands? Because this is part of Hukam, the path. 35. No, 33rd. The 34th Pauri is Dharam Khand Pauri. And the 32nd, the 2 before, are the introduction. Right? So this is the path, right? Now this is the Hukam as well. So if we understand this Hukam, this is how to get our ego to quieten down. This is how we get our ego to quieten down. Nanak hukme je bujhe, ta hum mein kehna koi. To understand that everything is God's will, but also to walk God's path, the Hukam, they're both Hukam. The wider Hukam and our personal Hukam. We walk this Hukam, we can solve the problem of ego. And this Hukam is all about Naam. In one part of Gurbani, Guru Sahib says that Eko Naam Hukam hai. Simple, right? Eko means ek, like one. God's name of the one is God's Hukam to you. This is God's will. Eko Naam Hukam hai. Nanak Satguru diya bujai jiyo. The Guru has made me understand that God's name, connection to God, is God's plan for me. Right? What God wants for me. Guru has made me understand this. So if we understand that it's about Naam, the next question that comes up is, how do I walk this path of Naam then? How do I get this enlightenment? And this is what the 5 khands are all about, right? So, at the end of Japji Sahib, Guruji starts talking about the 5 khands. But in the 32nd body, they start to explain the precursor, the right desire, right? Shubh Ichha. Ichha means desire, Shubh means pure. Pure desire. What is a right desire to have? And you know this body, you can say it with me if you know it, yeah? Mara Sahib said, Ik du jibo lakh ho hai, lakh ho veh lakh vees, lakh lakh geda akhiye, ek naam jagdish, et rahe pat pavdiyan, chadiye hoye ek ees. Right? He describes it, this is the path. He goes, if I had 1 tongue, or I had 100,000 tongues, or 20 million tongues, I will still just say your name. 2 million tongues, I will still just say your name. This is how much we need to want to say God's name. Not that we get 1 tongue, we say God's name and they give us 1 more, we think, oh, with this one I'll just, slander people. That's cool, I can do 1 tongue for God's name, 1 tongue for slander. Or I got 1 more, oh, with this one I'll go and, I'll just go and, do something else, yeah, blasphemy or whatever. No, with every single one I would chant your name. That's a big desire, right? You really want to say God's name then. So, ik du jibo lakh ho hai, lakh ho veh, lakh vees, lakh lakh geda. Geda means again and again. Akhiye means to speak. Ek naam jagdish. I will say the name of the one. This is how much. So then he goes, et rahe pat padiya. This is the path, the steps to the husband Lord. Climb up it and become one with him. Ik is. Chadiye means to go up. Hoye, chardi kala, rising spirits. Chadiye hoye, ik is, become one. This is the path. The first step is to have the desire to say God's name. Right? So when you come here and you start chanting, somewhere in that chant, first you're saying, and then you enjoy saying it. And you want to keep on saying it. And the desire is being created. Now you've got to keep that desire burning. Say Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Satnam, Satnam. So you always wanted to say God's name, right? Now, this is the 32nd body. We have that desire, right? Now we've got the desire. Et rahe pat pavdiya chadiye hoye kees. Sun galla aakas ki kita airis. Nanak nadri paiye kudi kudatis. They say, you know what? Hearing talks about the heavens. Even the ants want to copy it. People that are fake, they'll talk about this spirituality. They'll say, I want to copy it. And you've got a lot of fakers out there. Fake gurus. But Mara says the only way to get there is by God's grace. Yeah? Only by nadri. Nanak nadri paiye. Nadr means when he can see you. This glance of grace. So we need to earn God's grace. So now we've got the right desire. Now we need the right thinking. It's like I want to go from here to England, right? I need to know the path. How do I get there? Right? From here to, I don't know where I have, to be honest, geographically, I don't know, New Mexico. But if I'm in London and I want to go to Birmingham, I have to go up north. I can't go south. So I have to have the right thinking now. Shubh vichar. So what's the next body? Akhan jor, chupehna jor. Jor na mangan, den na jor. Jor na jivan, mar na jor. Jor na raj mal mansor. Jor na surti gyan vichar. Jor na jugti shutay sansar. Jis hat jor, kar vekhay soy. Nanak uttam neech na koi. Jor means power. Guru says, I've got no power to speak. I've got no power for anything really. I'm powerless. Why? Because it's all your power. It's to empty take the ego out of the way. When we say we got the power to do something, we're not acknowledging that the Creator is working through us. It's His power. So become humble. The right kind of thinking is to become really humble. And then Maharaj finished off by saying, Jis hat jor kar vekhay soy, Nanak uttam neech na koi. Uttam neech na koi means there's no one high, there's no one low. That means when we look out into this world, we don't call anybody high, anybody low. So become non-judgmental. So if you become non-judgmental, you become content. He's in charge. He's watching over me. Vekhe soy. He's got the power. He's watching over me. Become content. Also, get rid of the ego. It's not your power. It's not your money. It's not your education. It's not nothing is yours. It's all given. And then also, you become non-judgmental. You've now got the right thinking to go further. Yeah, it's okay to have the right desire, right? You could be jumping now in the gurdwara or in the tantric tent. You could be jumping now, and you look around, you see that guy's not jumping, and you're going, "What an idiot! Look at him, just hitting his." No, she's sleeping, right? And the ego comes in, and then you've got the right desire, but you've got the wrong thinking, and you ain't gonna go nowhere. You get it? So you need that thinking to go to the next level. We need to get that right thinking, right? To not say so, but wherever that person is, that's God's will for that person. And you know the famous Christian saying, there but for the grace of God go I? I love that. Because it's like saying, you know what, this person is doing some terrible stuff, but you know what, that could be me. But God's grace upon me, I'm where I am. Right? To be thankful and grateful, and to be content, that's the right kind of thinking, yeah? That will take you further, you know? Then, next step is the Dharam Khand. Now we can go to Dharam Khand, right? You can't get there before that. Dharam Khand means the system. To fall within the system. That's why Guruji starts talking about Rati, Rutti, Thiti, Var, Pavan, Pani, Agni, Patal. Sorry, it's going to have to be short, right? I've gone over already. So, and Benji's got to be next, right? So, I'm going to go through this quickly, and I apologize for this, but I can leave you wanting more because it's all on the channel already, right? The 5 khands, we made a 1-hour video just on the 5 khands, right? You can just go through that. But basically, it's like this. First, you fall into the system, you fall into a daily routine, and you come into the Guru's way of how to live your life, right? To be a good person, to be a spiritual person, have a practice. That's the first dharam. Dharam is maryada, literally. It's about coming into a way of living, right? So that's what we need first. Now, when we start to adopt the Guru's way of living, which is Dharam Khand, then and it becomes solid. The next step is Gyan Khand. When we start to experience from inside us the wisdom, we start to experience God. And it starts to come from inside us, the wisdom. But the second thing is the Gurbani, we understand it more and more. So we get the Gurbani coming into us, and we got our own internal experience. This becomes Gyan. So you get like, and then it's a bit like a frog living initially in the well, thinks the well is everything. Then they come out of the well and looks around and goes, wow, everything's so big. And if you look in the Gyan Khand Pauri, it's like Ketiyan this, Ketiyan, there's so many this, because you think the world is amazing, it's so big now. Because you've actually realized how big the world is. And you stop speaking in ego, thinking you're great, because you're nothing compared to the greatness of everything. The next step is Saram Khand. Saram is about effort, and it's about sharam. Sharam means actually to be embarrassed. Now this person who gets a bit of wisdom looks down at themselves and realizes how dirty they are. And they get embarrassed. Like, oh my God, I've got so much work to do myself. There's so much stuff I've got to deal with. All these years of doing all this bad stuff. So then they get embarrassed. Then they put effort to sort their mind out. And Saram Khand is all about fixing the mind. It's like like you're making a sculpture. You keep knocking at it and you make it beautiful. So you got the mind, but you fix it. And that's why it says, Tithe kadiye surt mat man buddh. Tithe kadiye suran sada ki sudh. Kadiye means to fix, make it beautiful, to create. What do we create? Make beautiful? Our surt, our consciousness, where we are. Our mat, our own personal wisdom. Man, our mind, and our buddh. So wisdom, our mind, how it thinks, our focus, where it is right now, and also what is the highest wisdom that we aspire to, our mat. We fix these 4 things up. And when I say, when you do that, you get the wisdom of the great sages, of the Siddhs. You become like a Siddh in this world. So that's the 3rd stage, right? The 4th stage, from this fear and this shame and this hard work, we then get to Karam Khand. And Karam Khand is all about love, and it's about God's grace. So we start to earn God's grace, because we actually fixed ourselves up and we're now living in love. So we go beyond fear into love. We need a bit of fear to start with, and we go into love. And in that one, we're just sewn up in His praises. It says it. She's just sewn up in the praise of God. That bride, she's just praising Ram all the time, her Waheguru. And then last stage from this love is Sachkhand, to become one with the truth. And then they say that happens. Where is Sachkhand? This, Sad Sangat. This is Sachkhand. And here is the Khand of the Shabad. Sach is Shabad. Coming back to the beginning point, Gurbani. Shabad Khand is the same as Sachkhand. To merge with Gurbani is to merge with God. In the Sad Sangat, what's happening there? We're singing Gurbani. We're talking about Gurbani. We're reading Gurbani. It's all about Gurbani. So, Sachkhand is Shabad Khand, and it's in the Sad Sangat. So it's a place where the Shabad becomes real. We merge with the Shabad. We lose our mind and we become the Guru's wisdom. Take on the Guru's wisdom, lose our own wisdom. Right? And nothing else. So actually, Sachkhand is about merging with Gurbani. Because God is not in a place there, He's inside here. So the aim is to put the Shabad sitting in our mind. And I can give you a few quotes about this. It's in the long Katha. And Pitpas looking at me and say I can't. So you can check it out on the YouTube channel. But really, Sachkhand, the aspiration is to become one with Gurbani. And that's why Gurbani is so important. So a little request to finish off with. It's not just the Ved, it's also the, it's not just the Naad, it's also the Ved, right? So try and spend some time, even 10 minutes or half an hour, in a week to read and understand the meaning of Gurbani. And we've already created a resource there on our channel, videos in English explaining that. Read and then you will appreciate that part when you do your Japji Sahib, you'll appreciate it so much more. I personally gain so much more than anybody else just by doing the Katha of Japji Sahib. Because now when I do Japji Sahib, it takes me longer because I want to enjoy it. I don't want to get through it, I want to enjoy it because I understand it more. So, and the 5 Khans are very interesting. They're very interesting. Would you get the line by line when you go through them? Yeah, it's great stuff. So it's on the channel. I'm sure I made loads of mistakes. Apologies for any mistakes I did make. And anything that was good came from the Guru, not from me. Forgive my mistakes. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Vaheguru